Welcome to Mailbag Monday. The first thing I'm opening is Constellation Oatmeal Stout from Cabin Brewing in Calgary, Alberta. As is increasingly common, there's no tasting notes on the can, so we'll just have to go in blind. Nice roasty malt as expected, a little bit sweet. That's nice. So, the first thing in from the mail is actually two things, one of which had my address on it, so I just have to obliterate that for a second. Now that that's done, let's see what it is. It appears to be a couple of USB-A to USB-C adapters. They're rated for 100-watt power delivery. These are essentially going to let me plug in just a USB-C to C cable, which increasingly my fleet of cables is. Plug those into any available USB-A charging port, such as, but not limited to, the one in my car. ELO, I guess the brand, USB to C OTG adapter on the go, USB-C female to USB-A male converter for PC and all these phones, any phone really, can handle up to 100 watts of PD going through it. Fast charging adapter, sure. They have many different options here. I got the two blue ones for $3.73, which was $3.76 back when I bought it months ago. It is only a USB 2.0 capable. It doesn't have all the extra pins in the USB-A, but that's okay. Theoretical maximum 480 megabits per second. Again, that's okay. I was mainly planning on using this for charging, but extra adapters are always a useful thing to have around here. And what is this other thing here? That looks like a power bank type board. Spring connection for the negative side of presumably an 18650. USB-C for either charging or output. What do we got down here? Those are labeled L plus and L minus, For a light, maybe? Oh, maybe that's what it is a rechargeable USB light? I guess that would make a certain amount of sense too. Then you just put whatever LED on there you want. Power switch on the back side. Okay. That could be interesting to play with, just to make silly, ridiculous shaped LED flashlights. And I probably wouldn't use an 18650. I would probably use a salvaged vape cell because I've got an increasingly large collection of those. Anyway, let's see if we can find the listing for this. 3 to 4.2 volt LED drive board, Type-C micro USB charging flashlight drive, switch PCB, and all these other things, 18650 or 26650. Yeah, realistically, since the only thing that it has for a connection is the negative connection, and actually, where does the positive have to come back to the board? I missed that. I'll have to figure that out later. Anyway, basically any rechargeable lithium cell, either a lithium ion or a lithium iron phosphate, should work with this, as long as it's got an open end on the negative side that you can put it against the spring. DIY light kit for batteries, sure. Integrated switch, optimized circuit design, blah, blah, blah. Efficient driver, sure. It's got 3 gears, low, high, and burst flash, or 5. High, medium, low, burst flash, and SOS. But which one, we don't know. Okay, 4-cell power display, I'm assuming that is 4 LEDs. Yeah, there they are there. Overcharge and over discharge protection. That is probably the most important part. Oh, okay, there's the battery positive and negative there. Sure. I guess that's available on... yeah, there we go. There's the negative, and then the positive is on the outer rim. Of course, this means I'm probably going to have to 3D print some sort of housing for a homemade flashlight, but that could be fun. Well, that's off to a good start. Let's see what the next thing is. And again, multiple things in a package. One of them is a kit. It calls itself a DIY LED follow spot kit, 4.5 to 9 volts, XY-axis movement, adjustable speed running lights, etc. 81 indicator lights, red light. So that is not what I would think of as a spotlight. I'm thinking of a spotlight more from a stage point of view, but this a bunch of resistors, looks like an LED matrix, a couple of chips driving it. Is one of them a microcontroller probably, and then some address matrices probably. Got a couple of switches and a couple of speed, X and Y speed. Some driver transistors along there and there. That should be an interesting kit. And unlike the most recent kit that I unboxed, this one is all through hole. So I don't have to fight with those little annoying surface mount dudes. I don't know what that chip is. It's a 4017. Okay. That is our old friend, the decade counter. So you give it a clock pulse and it just lights up one of its outputs in sequence. So this may not actually have a microcontroller. That would be neat. We will definitely have to set that one aside for the month of kit builds coming up at the end of the year. Or maybe I will pull it out earlier if I feel like doing a midsummer kit build. Same description as on the package. DIY LED follow spot kit, 4.5 to 9 volts, gaming XY axis, movement adjustable, speed running lights, DIY soldering kit, 81 indicator lights. And there is everything in the kit all laid out nice and neat. LED lights can move along the X-axis or the Y-axis or the XY axis to achieve a variety of dynamic effects. And there's what it looks like all built up. So we got 4 switches, 2 knobs, DC power socket. I'm wondering if that's a couple of 4017s and a couple of 555s, and they're just interacting with each other. That would be neat if that's what it is. We'll have to look forward to that later in the year. And the other thing that was in that same package looks like it is another kit of some sort. Comes with a USB power cable. This little bag that has a tube of glue in it, and what else have we got? Bunch of little tiny circuit boards that look like frames or something with a couple of components that go on them. Power jack and a switch, and ooh, some acrylic mirror pieces. Okay. And then we have some resistors, some rubber bands, and some LED filaments. And a lengthy set of instructions. Wow. Although, okay, these instructions are in multiple languages, so it's not nearly as big as it seems, but still. Oh, and there's the schematic. Super simple little schematic as well. Just a power input, a switch, a bunch of LEDs and resistors. Okay. So the trick of this one would seem to be the mechanical assembly, which turns it into a cube with LEDs inside and mirrored pieces. It's an infinity mirror thing, probably. Wow. That seems really cool. And as usual, I ordered this months ago, so I don't actually remember ordering it or what it was supposed to be. But let's go and find ourselves the listing and see if I can refresh my memory a little bit. Electronic DIY Engineering 4-dimensional space supercube. Woohoo! Creative Abyss night parts assembly soldering practice kit. Wow, that's an interesting overblown description. Anyway, there is what it looks like assembled, and it is indeed essentially an infinity mirror, but in cube form. Okay. And it appears that the description contains most of the text off that arm's length manual. That's good. The rubber bands are tools, basically. Some good tips here. Attach the acrylic semi-transparent mirrors. So that is how an infinity mirror works. It's a semi-transparent mirror. Basically, you can kind of see through it from one direction, but it's mirrored from the other side. And yeah, you get that kind of an effect. It does have a few warnings in the instructions too, like warning that the LED filaments are very fragile and bending will damage them. That is useful. Also that the LED tubes, the filaments, are not resistant to high temperatures, so be careful when you're soldering them. Those are some good warnings. Oh, and also typical mistakes that some people make, like putting too many LEDs in one place and leaving not enough for the others. Cool. Well, it should be a fun little kit to put together. So far, I am quite pleased with the decisions that I made months and months ago when I bought these things. Let's see if our luck holds. Ooh, LEDs. These are very similar to some that I got a few months ago in a mailbag. These are intended for backlighting signs and art pieces and projects like that, stuff like that. But these ones are 3-wire. Are these addressable? So these are definitely RGB LEDs. You can tell by the structure inside there. Those 6 pads each have 3 LEDs in there in between the gaps in them. And I'm wondering if they are WS2812 or if somewhere in here there is a WS2811 driving the 3 colors in series, which would make sense with a 12-volt one because each one is about 3.5 volts. 20 pieces, 12-volt WS2811 RGB LED modules. Light waterproof IP65 full color advertisement lamp shop signboard. Okay, so that is what I thought. They are WS2811, not 2812, and yeah, they are in fact designed for advertising signs. There, and that kind of confirms what's inside them. Instead of being WS2812s, they are the bare 2811 chip plus some RGB LEDs. Any more information down here? 50,000 hours. Yeah, that's just normal LED stuff. There are 60 LEDs, 160 to 180 degree beam angle. Again, just standard 50/50 LED stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So each set of 3 is a single color or a single address in the addressable LED scheme. Okay. So let's just hook them up to a simple little controller here. Give them 12 volts, and yep, that's exactly what I expected to have happen. Now, let me dim that down a little bit. So under normal circumstances, with a normal LED string, it would look like that. But since each 3 of these, or each set of 3 is in series as a single address, so address 1 is all 3 of these, address 2 is all 3 of these, 3, 4, and so on across the whole strip. That is pretty nifty. Just for comparison, here is the other style. These are just straight up white. They just run off straight DC, no control or anything. But they are designed for exactly the same purpose for backlighting signage and stuff. This one I could see being used for all sorts of interesting animated effects inside a sign box. This one, of course, just straight up white light, although you can get them in multiple different colors, single colors and stuff. That one also could just be used to light up the whole thing in a random color and the whole set change occasionally. But I think being able to chase around it would probably be the better option. Anyway, cool thing to have, cool thing to play with. Rolling right along, what is the next thing in here? This is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. It is, again, a few different things in the package. These multi-packs that AliExpress is shipping lately are really making the mailbags different. Normally I like to have like 5 packages, 5 items, nice, quick, easy. But with 2 or 3 things per package, I'm getting a lot more stuff through, but it burns through my backlog of bought stuff quicker too. Anyway, the first thing out of this package is, looks like a little motor, a little linear motor. Ooh, it's a little stepper motor. Okay. Well, I should be able to drive that with just about any of my stepper drivers. Don't know what voltage. I'm going to guess this is probably something to go inside a small battery-powered product originally. So it's likely going to run on either 3 or 5 volts, something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. There's 4 pads for the motor, so 1 coil in the other coil, presumably. And then it turns this lead screw, which pulls this piece here. It's got a couple of mounting holes there, pulls that distance. Regardless, I saw an interesting motor form factor and I figured I'd better grab one just to add to my collection of motors for, random uses. You never know when the mood is going to strike to do some sort of a project, and as I've said many times before, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Mini tiny 5mm or 4.3mm precision planetary gear stepper motor, micro 2-phase 4-wire stepping motor, screw slider camera. Okay, that's what they're intended for, is inside a camera to, move the focus of the lens or move the zoom of the lens, maybe? So there's two different models, and it looks like I got the Model A, but I wonder if, hang on. Oh yeah, okay, so there is another one, and the difference seems to be this little arm out here, this little actuator. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I got one of each. That makes sense, I guess. 5-volt short circuit current is 300 milliamps on the Model A, which is the one with a little bracket and two screw holes there. So I'm going to assume that these are in fact designed for, between 3 and 5 volts, because that makes sense if they're inside a battery operated camera. And Model B, yeah, a little bit more current actually at 5 volts. Okay. 8mm stroke, 1750 pulses for the full length. That's useful information. 0.0046 millimeters per pulse. I'll have to add those to my inventory of motors, and when I need a short stroke linear motor, this will be the one that I take out. Cool. So what was the other thing that was in that package? A little box here. Yeah, I could read that, but that's no fun until I get confused. It is an SP901E. It is a signal amplifier, DC 5 to 24 volts, 5 volt TTL signal. So there's definitely some power. That's where your main power comes in. There is voltage on the signal in and signal out, and then it distributes that signal to multiple outputs here. But what kind of a signal is it amplifying? SP901E SPI signal amplifier repeater for WS2812, WS2811. Oh, okay. So this is for LED pixel type strips. Right. And there's how they suggest to connect them. So I wonder if there is any address smarts in here, if they are treating, like that as number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this one is 50, 51, 52, 100, 100, 102, or if all of these across the first are number 1, and it's just, repeating the whole thing without any intelligence. So I guess the point of that is so that you don't have signal degradation if you're hooking up multiple strings in parallel. Though, as I discovered in a video a couple of years ago, I'll put a link up in the top corner, you can actually get away with just paralleling them, but I suppose there is a limit to that. So that would be where this comes in handy. Also, it handles the power management because you've got your high current power supply connecting there, which presumably distributes out to all the strips. At least that's how I think it works. We'll have to play with that in the future and just find out for certain. That could be very useful. And the last thing in, what do we have? Is this another multi-pack? Yes, it is. It has 3 different things in it. Hang on, let me just check if my address is on the other side. Nope, we're good. This one says 2-pin wire 5 meters. That's exactly what it is. Red and black wire. Okay. That one says 4-pin wire. That one says 3-pin wire. So this is just restocking with wire. And we've seen that a little bit in the past, where I have bought wire just for my supply, just to have in stock. Again, wire is a consumable. You go through it. Might as well have different variations in stock. Although I don't know why they decided to put wire in anti-static bags. Anyway, that is 3-wire. That tends to be used for servo motors and stuff like that. That one is 4-wire, which tends to be used for the addressable LED strips and things like that. And of course, this is just black and red, which is power wire. 5 or 10 meters, 22 gauge, 2-pin, 3-pin, 4-pin, 5-pin, or 6-pin. 2, 3, and 4 are the ones that I got. Electronic cable extension wire, color line, etc. for anything you need wire for, really. As I said, I got the 2-conductor and the 3-conductor and the 4-conductor. You could also get 10 meters if you want, but there's no price break, so I didn't. PVC jacketing, yeah, okay, flame retardant, whatever. Max voltage 300 volts, no way. Maybe 48 or 48 volts or something like that at the most. 80 degrees Celsius. I mean, the jacket's going to be getting soft, but it's not going to break down probably. Tint copper, PVC, 5 or 10 meters. No other information you need. It's just wire. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Quite the pile we've got. So to start with, we got this little rechargeable LED flashlight board and 2 USB-C to A. Those will be handy. That should be interesting to play with. Got a couple of kits. We got this one, which is sort of an infinity light mirror cube thing, which should be interesting mechanical challenge to put together. And there's this little LED matrix kit, which as far as I can tell, uses a pair of 555 and 4017s. One set on the horizontal, one set on the vertical, presumably one pulse high and one pulse low. And then you adjust the speeds of it and it creates patterns and stuff. It'll be fun to see what that looks like when we build it. And we got these 2 little stepper motors. I'll add those to my motor collection. You never know when you're going to need something weird like that for a project. And there's this signal amplifier splitter thing for WS2812 or WS2811 type LEDs, such as these or others. I'm going to have to take a closer look at that because it doesn't really explain how it works or what it does, exactly how it works. So we'll look closer at that. Got these LEDs, which are neat. Again, those are intended for backlighting signs, but they could also be used in artistic projects and whatnot. Utility stuff like these wires right here. Gee, does that 3-conductor wire look familiar? Yeah, that's exactly what it's intended for. Nice collection of stuff. And again, a bunch of things that I forgot that I had ordered because it's been months and months. I think the oldest thing here was ordered back in February. So there we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it as always. Questions and comments down below. Thanks to my YouTube channel members and my Patreon supporters for helping fund this stuff and especially for helping keep the beer fridge full. I do appreciate that. Talk to you later.